If I could say one thing about KEF, is that they pride themselves on clarity, no matter how big or small their design. The LSX2 was just released and I got a pair in for review. Let's find out if these ultra compact form factor speakers can produce the room filling sound that is worthy of your ears and your wallet. Hello my friends, I'm Mike, your hi-fi journalist. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, I'm glad you're here. If you enjoy the content, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel and of course hit that like button at the end of the video. Let's get started. Today we will be exploring KEF's newest product launch, the LSX II. Unfortunately, I have never listened to its predecessor. However, I have heard the LS50 Meta, and I know the type of clarity these drivers are capable of. Let's take a look at some features and specs to see what we're working with. The LSX II has a gorgeous minimalist design created by Michael Young, a well-known industrial designer. The speakers come in a variety of colors and materials. The blue on gold you see here and the carbon black have a particular fabric, which feels kind of nice, hugging the outside of the enclosure. The fabric was sourced from a Danish textile company, in case you guys were wondering where this came from. But the mineral white and the lava red are adorned with a high gloss finish and just a smooth look. Now there is one variant that I feel will probably be their most popular configuration. It's called the Soundwave Terence Conrad Edition, which was one of the final collaborations with the British designer. As you can see, the blue accents on the tweeter pay him homage. I think the first takeaway with these speakers is the size. I mean, they're compact, they're tiny. KEF made these as compact as possible, actually, and in doing so, it has opened up the possibilities for positioning. For example, KEF offers their S1 speaker stand to present them in your listening area with style, or perhaps you want to use these on your desktop, as PC speakers, which is totally cool. And utilizing that, you can run your PC directly to them while sitting on their P1 desk pad. If you're in a bedroom or living area and are tight on space, KEF also offers their B1 wall bracket, making it a very versatile solution for your listening experience. You can pretty much put them anywhere. Now, on the front, they are about as matter-of-fact as they can be. Typical KEF style. The curved front baffle houses their UniQ driver, which is quite common for this line. For those unfamiliar with UniQ technology, it's basically just a bass driver with a tweeter replacing what is typically a dust cap. This type of driver is meant to provide a more sophisticated stereo imaging over a wide listening area, so you could be in different parts of the room and still get that same experience. In my experience with these types of drivers, they do deliver. The rear of the main speaker is kind of where all the magic happens. First and foremost, they are rear ported, as you can see here. So placement will have to be considered if you want to optimize the amount of bass these speakers will provide you with. The LSX II was designed for plug-and-play connectivity. Through their intuitive app, you can access Qobuz, Tidal, Spotify, Apple AirPlay 2, and I, of course, went the long route when first testing them and connected them via Chromecast, so I could actually stream via Roon. However, there's a lot more going on than just streaming back there. As you can see, an optical input for your primary source devices is provided. Alongside that is a USB-C input, which I'm starting to see a lot more and more nowadays. More companies are incorporating the USB-C instead of USB-B. Perhaps this is a transition to the newer version of the interconnect. Not sure, but I like USB-C. There's an auxiliary input via a 3.5mm connection and a subwoofer output, which I feel is necessary with any powered bookshelf speaker. Below you have an HDMI ARC if you are connecting to a gaming system or TV, and 2 Ethernet ports, one to connect to the other speaker if you choose to hardwire in, and one for the network. Again, if you choose to hardwire in. You can connect these speakers wirelessly for additional convenience, so you don't have to run that Ethernet cable to the other speaker. I am using my wireless internet for streaming, and they are working just fine. You can also combine these with other KEF speakers to provide sound throughout your home. And of course, obviously it does Bluetooth just like anything else in this world. I have never personally done the whole house connected thing, but if your kids want to throw a party and you guys are away for the weekend, them and their friends can play their favorite tunes and the entire house could be immersed in music for them. This is likely why I will probably never have kids, because I expect them to be as bad or worse than I was, and that would just be tragic. So moving along, I would say the only critique I have so far is the remote. At the price point of $13.99, I expected something a little more luxurious than this. However, I'm just hoping they invested everything into sound quality. So far, we know they look good. They're filled with smart tech and have plenty of inputs for all your sources. That you could basically control the whole house with your app. So now let's get into measurements and sound quality, because that's what I want to know about. This is just a shame. But hey, it still has a remote. Now these speakers are rated from 54 Hertz to upwards of 24 kilohertz. So let's see what the measurements said. I ran 2 measurements using REW. The first we will discuss is the near field measurement, taken from around 6 to 8 inches from the speaker. Here you can see that measurement with the blue line. The bass waterfalls at the high 60s to low 70 Hertz. It has a very prominent mid-range throughout the measurement and a little hump on the top end, more than likely giving it a bit of brightness near the 10 to 15 kilohertz range, which is usually the ceiling where most of us cannot hear beyond those frequencies anyways. Aside from the bass playing down to the low 60s, which is a bit higher than what's rated, the in-room measurement is almost identical to the near field, aside from the room nulls and spikes. These measurements were taken without any type of equalization in the KEF app, so this is what the raw speaker can do. So it's a safe assumption, just judging from the measurements, that these speakers will have forward mid-range, slightly bright top end, and mild bass. Let's see if the measurements coincide with my subjective listening. Before I go any further, I would like to pose a question to everyone out there. Do you prefer, for your main speakers, the convenience of, let's say, a powered speaker, or do you like the creative control you have with passive speakers? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm kind of curious what you guys think, because I feel that that could be a video on its own, so perhaps I could take some of your answers and implement them. So there are strengths and opportunities with these speakers. I'll start with the opportunities because I want to get that, out of the way. The biggest obstacle these speakers face is the bass and the mid-range. The bass I can forgive because not only can you adjust it in app with their equalization, but they're a small form factor speaker. They're not meant to dig deep into the low end frequencies. However, I feel that these speakers should be complemented with a subwoofer if you are interested in a full range experience. And that's really all I have to say about the bass. Other than that, they actually are kind of punchy. However, most speakers need subwoofers. The other opportunity is the mid-range. It's a bit too forward for me. Not fatiguing, but it dances on the fence of fatiguing. The vocals in mid-range in general are so prominent that it sort of dilutes the rest of the music, creating this strange separation where it's primarily mid-range dominance. Again, tried to EQ that in the app, kind of helped, but I'm always the type that seeks balance in their sonic experiences. I honestly don't care how much technology you throw at a pair of speakers. They can play a stream from outer space for all I care. I want them to sound balanced, and that's what I feel are the most significant opportunities sound-wise that these speakers face, which isn't huge, but it is what it is. However, as with all KEF speakers I have experienced, the clarity is immensely satisfying. This is probably because of its bright top-end frequencies. It has a lovely treble, allowing the higher frequency instruments to shine through well. I'm not going to say for their size, because I keep saying that, and I'm probably going to say it again, but because I don't think these speakers' size should be their handicap. They provided a soundstage that is just incredible. I knew they'd image well. I didn't expect the expanse I received though. Through their mobile app, I was able to tame things down a bit with certain characteristics. However, the soundstage was absolutely ridiculous. They commands attention in any room you put these in. Now, I threw them through the gauntlet in my Qobuz playlist. You can check that out in the description below if you want to see what kind of music I was working with. They warmed up a bit, so the bass was better than I had initially anticipated after spending some time with them. It still needs a subwoofer, mind you. But for being small form factor speakers, there we go again, I just said it. They outperformed my expectations and provided a pleasant dynamic experience that would work great in an office, a living room, a bedroom, or anywhere else you'd like to enjoy a fun musical experience. Overall, I think the biggest takeaway was the soundstage. These speakers came with so much connectivity, it was time consuming to test it all. However, the DAC and DSP they use within the system performed exceptionally well. Since they are both independently powered, so you have to plug them in, you have to plug each of them into the wall, the internal amplifiers drove these speakers without an issue. I could crank them up and they didn't distort or flop, which is awesome. I think these speakers would be perfect for someone looking for an all-in-one experience that's pressed for space, however doesn't want to sacrifice space for dynamic sound. At $13.99, I would have felt they were a bit aggressively priced if they were passive speakers. However, since they come with amplification, streaming capabilities, and just a myriad of features and stuff you can do with them, I would say that they are a bit on the top end of the budget I would have given them, but I think they're still fairly priced. With KEF, you're paying for quality and the peace of mind of dealing with a reputable company with stateside customer service, which is extremely important, especially with electronics. Thank you all for joining me. If you're already subscribed, thank you. I have an online shop where I sell audio-inspired t-shirts, hoodies, and other merch to help support the channel. I encourage you to check it out. Maybe buy some stuff or offer ideas for future designs. I would love to hear your ideas for that. If you're new to Audio Arkitekts and you like it so far, I encourage you to check out some of my other videos to see if my channel and I am the right fit for you and you click with my vibe. And I would love for you to hit that thumbs up and end up subscribing and joining me in my journey in hi-fi. Thank you guys so much for joining me again, and we will see you soon.